Hello, ABL and fans of the ABL. Welcome to a newly revamped Armchair Updates. As you can see, it is not just me, Armchair Alan. I also have my new co-host, Color Man, my eyes and my mouth. He's going to help me there, and he's also offered to fill in for any other body part should the need arise. It is Tony. You all know him already. He's the owner of the Marlins. And Tony, thanks for agreeing to do this, man. I like the new headphones. I know you got a new mic. You're ready to go.
It's funny you said body, because I actually got a new shirt, Body by Busch Light.
And did I see that you were drinking a Busch?
Yeah. Thank you, the farmers. Thanks, the farmers. It's the farmer edition. John Deere.
That's a weird looking. Yeah, it's a weird looking Busch Light can. It's like not your normal Busch Light can. I actually have, for the first time, I'm drinking on a podcast. This is what she calls it. My wife made it for me. It's like vodka and like a lemon simple syrup. She like reduced a bunch of lemons down, and there's like candy lemon peel in there. It's fucking delicious. I don't know how much booze is in it. It doesn't feel like much, but it doesn't take much for me. So anyway, so like I said that I was kind of feeling that the weekly breakdowns that I was doing, where I'm just sitting here on my own and reading numbers that I typed into a spreadsheet, that was getting a little bit stale. So I felt like maybe we could try to shake the pot up a little bit, bring on some fresh blood that I know enjoys being on and usually has a lot to talk about, likes to talk about the league. So asked Tony if he wouldn't mind trying out the co-host chair for a little bit. He's going to do have like a weekly transaction reports, and if there's not a lot of transactions for the week, we'll go back and look at some past ones that were maybe big impacts on the league. But Tony's transaction corner, a little thing we're going to do. A little later, we're going to bring in Tyler live for some power rankings discussion. We're going to try to do that every week, where he can get on here and give us a good rundown of the updated power rankings. So that's the way we're going to try things for the next little bit. So, Tony, anything you want to get off your chest before we get into the Week 15 breakdown?
Yeah, I also was doing the playoff picture.
Oh yeah, we will have, especially for this week, and probably in the coming weeks, we will also have. Tony did a nice spreadsheet for the ABL playoff picture. So yes, do not want to forget that.
We do have teams that are mathematically eliminated and mathematically clinched. So we have both ends of the spectrum. That just happened last week.
I know which one I think I fall into, so no,
you might
no
be
surprise there. But here's our Week 15. We're just going to run this down real quick, kind of like I usually do. Some things are going to stay the same, but we had 7 undefeated teams in the week. You had Pittsburgh, Baltimore. Man, Baltimore gaining a lot of steam lately. Texas goes 3-0, big for them, especially since Oakland went 500 on the week. The Cardinals 3-0, the Dodgers 3-0. Cleveland and San Francisco both go 2-0 in their two matchups, grab a couple wins each. Your 2-1 teams, Seattle, Minnesota, the Diamondbacks, the Cubs, the Royals, the Rays, and the Phillies. We had 3 500 teams, the A's, the Brewers, and the Braves all go 1-1. Our 1-2 teams, the Reds, the Jays, the Astros, the Rockies, the Padres, and the Mets. And a tough week for the Yankees. I kind of didn't realize until now the Yankees went 0-3. That seems like a tough week for the Yankees. The Tigers, the Angels, the Red Sox, the White Sox, the Marlins, and the Nats all winless on the week. Tony, anything immediately jump out there to you when I run that down?
The Yankees. You mentioned the Yankees, that for sure.
What happened? Who did he play?
Let's see. I've got it right here. It looks like he played the Dodgers.
Played the Dodgers.
He put up 430. He put up 430, which is pretty. I mean, that's respectable.
Well, it was a week and a half. Remember, that's a good score. I mean, the Pirates put up 656.
Yeah.
The Rangers put up 600, 597. Big week for the Rangers.
And that was another one of his losses, the Orioles. He lost the Orioles. So
Gary played the Rangers, the Dodgers, and the Orioles. So that is a rough week for the Yankees. Now there are some other teams. He still would have lost to like the Giants and the Mariners. So it looks like kind of an off week, really, for the Yankees to only put up 430 in the long week. When you have the Cardinals at 550, the M's at 521. So a rough week to be an off week for the Yankees and be playing 3 really tough opponents. And
then one of them be your main competition for the division.
Yeah, one of them be the division. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at. Let's see, can I go here? Is that what I do? Just want to see the division.
For division, you mean? I had the divisions in that spreadsheet if you want.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Well, because yours has the magic number and stuff on it too. I'm just gonna do a quick scroll. The Braves still on top of the East in the NL. The Cardinals continue to dominate, really, and as do the Dodgers. The West has become a very tough 3-headed division.
Yes.
Not unlike the Central, really. I mean, the Cubs are kind of we've seen the talk from Frank lately. I want to say he's bailing out, but I think Frank sees the writing on the wall a little bit. According to his inside sources, we may have a Walker Buehler trade during the course of this podcast. So I think Frank is seeing that he's not going to compete with the Pirates and the Cardinals this year and relinquishing that go for it attitude that Frank carries with him for a lot of the year.
And keep our notifications on.
I do, yeah. I did turn mine on. I actually have like a shit ton of them I need to clear out. There we go. Yeah, I'm waiting for it to come through. I want to see who it is that's gonna sink their teeth into this Walker Buehler contract.
It almost made it sound like he's taking on salary because he said the Cubs cleared out. Yeah, that Frank, because he said they cleared out.
Oh yeah, he did.
So it almost makes me wonder: is he? Who knows? Who knows with him? You never know.
Yeah, maybe he's not throwing in a towel. Maybe he makes some wacky Frank trade. And he did. He said he jettisoned a couple guys to make room for question marks. Yeah. So who could he? Geez, who could both be taking on Buehler, but dealing Frank enough to do it to where Frank would be taking on salary?
It'd have to be probably a lot of. I mean, is Buehler on his first?
He's a 2024. Right? Yeah, he's a 2024.
He might have to be taking on some rentals.
So he will be $56 by the time. Yeah. By the time that contract is up, it is a very hefty contract to take on in a trade. If Frank finds somebody to do it, if he finds a deal that works, I say bravo. It'd be interesting to see how it turns out.
Yes,
I want to see it. I want to see it now. I want to see what it's going to be.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's get this into it. Let's see it. So what were the slim wins?
He was like waiting on the other party, though.
Oh yeah, who knows who it could be? Who knows who the other party could be?
Yeah, I got to wait on the other guy. It sounds like Frank's ready to go, but the other guy's not so sure he wants to take on the Buehler deal, or who knows. But yeah, I think Frank's probably always about ready to make a huge deal. So
yes, him and Gary too. Gary's always ready to take on.
Cut from the same cloth. Grew up in the minor fantasy leagues together, and here they are making the same kind of deals in ABL.
I would say, did you have more to say on the scoring week, or did you want to go to the slim wins?
I didn't have a ton really. It was a pretty, I mostly saved that talk I think for playoff picture, since that's really the thing to be looking at right now. So yeah, let's head over here. Just a quick 5 slim wins, and one of them funny for a couple reasons. One, because I beat my dad by 0.33 points for the number one Slim win, but also because it's like San Diego's, I think, 8th or 9th time showing up on the losing side of the Slim margin list. So, you probably could go back and break down the matchups day by day and see what he could have did differently that might have got him a win. But I know a lot of these have been like 5 points or fewer. So it's like, a double and an RBI or a win or a quality start or whatever, or a save away from a win. And the Padres wouldn't be looking like a playoff team still, but maybe things would be different for the Pods. Maybe he wouldn't have dumped as early as he did, or maybe he would just now be dumping if he had 6 or 7 or 8 more wins than he has now. I don't know what to say about that, but I think it's just interesting to note that being Padre Greg, but the Padres were the number one team at the midseason pod that had shown up the most times on the bad side of the Slim margin list. I know the Twins were on there for like 3 or 4, and I think the Mariners were also on there for 3 or 4. But that's number one. Seattle, Oakland. So Seattle scrapes out a Slim win again, a 3-point win over Oakland. That was Oakland's one win to go 1-1. Toronto over Philly by 4.5 points. So I wouldn't say a critical loss by the Phillies, but no losses are good right now when you're fighting for the division. So 4.5-point loss is going to sting a little bit. But the Braves also take a 5-point loss to the Cubs. So the two teams fighting for the top of the NL East both take a pretty slim loss in Week 15. And then number 5, 15 points, Arizona over Kansas City. So the Royals taking a somewhat tough loss, but a little easier to swallow than losing by less than half a point or 4 or 5, especially when you're really fighting for the division.
I was trying to find something, as a good color guy, a word that starts with G that means close. Because remember, we had Ray was the razor last year. So what would C, like the opposite? What would tough luck G mean? I don't know. I was trying to Google it, and I couldn't find anything that was close.
I need a thesaurus.
Words that mean close. Yeah, and I couldn't find anything online about it. So, but yeah, he's had a tough. I mean, he's had the exact opposite, because wasn't with Ray last year. All his close ones were wins, I think. And now Greg this year. I
think why I called him the Razor, I think he had a couple losses. But he was like on there a lot. He was like always on there. Yeah, it was, and then tough luck Tyler, because he had several close losses, and he's done it again this year. I mean, that really. Now, I didn't keep a tally of an end year tally last year of how many times everybody made it, but to be top 5 2 years in a row would be pretty rough, I think. And I think Tyler probably would have a shot, because I know he was on there a lot last year, and he was top 5 halfway through the season this year. So, I mean, I've said it a bunch of times, the Twins could be even better than they are. And, pretty easily the Mariners could be worse. But they're not. Seth keeps pulling rabbits out of his hat to get these slim wins. But, I mean, at what point I'm not going to call it a skill, but it's like, at what point does seeming, good fortune actually become a skill? Like maybe he's just starting the right guys at the right time.
Well, that was one of the attributes I traded him, was the skill luck attribute when I gave all those players to him. It wasn't written on the Fantrax trade, but I traded him the luck attribute.
+1 luck.
+1 on the luck attribute.
Hey, it's working. I mean, he squeaked out. I mean, that could end up being a huge win. That slim win over division rivals. Like those are at the end of the year, those are going to look, be magnified. They're really going to look like they matter in some of these closer matchups. Oakland looks really great, but anything can happen, man. I mean, anything. There's not a lot of matchups left, but let's go ahead and with that, let's do the playoff picture first, and then we'll do transactions, because
Sounds good.
This seems like a
I've got that
good time to
transition into that.
the playoff picture. Yeah. All right. Let's stop that screen. Share. Still no action yet on the Walker Buehler front, eh?
No, not yet.
Let's see. How do I share? I think I may have to try to.
Oh, you were in. Do I need to get out of it? I guess we can both view
No,
it.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Ah, damn it. I need access. I thought I had access.
Yeah, I thought I gave you access. I emailed it to you.
Yeah, no, you did. I tried to open it in Chrome, and Chrome. I'm logged in different Google account. I can get it here and say it's just like when you do the share screen on StreamYard, it doesn't want to share the window that StreamYard is using. So it doesn't want to use the Firefox that I have. It wants to look at Chrome instead. And I'm not savvy enough to figure it out.
Without having it says you're in. There you go. I see it in.
Yeah. Share screen. Let's take a look. Yeah, see, it just wants to give me. That's the power rankings. Don't want that already.
I wonder if you can only have one Google Sheet open. You know what I mean?
Well, it's just like when I do share screen, it gives me like the option of all the tabs, like which one do you want to share, and the other stuff on Firefox, it just wants to reshare the stream, so it'll be like an infinite like loop of the stream. Like we don't want that. But yeah,
let me try to share it real quick.
Okay.
Because I have a share button. I just have to log into Google real quick. Let's see here. Let's go. Because then I can always have it ready if that's the case.
Infinite stream of me and Tony.
Yeah, just having our technical. I mean, to add on to your wonderful day.
Oh man,
wonderful day for those who may not have heard. But
it's been a fuck of a day at work, and I don't know what's going on in my car. I decided I'm not messing with it tonight. I'll do it tomorrow. The car, I'm not even gonna mess with it. It's like 95 degrees still. I don't want to go stand out there and fuck with it. So, but the Cadillac may be on its last legs. It might be new used car time for me. And this is like the car that I use to haul the clients around in. This is not like me and my wife's like car, but still, I don't want to have to buy a new one. Pain in the ass.
Oh, there we go. Allow. Now let me see. You're sharing.
Yeah, I think you may be running into the. Okay, yeah. Now let's.
We're good.
Hey. Fucking Tony, all right, coming through in the clutch. So this is Tony's playoff picture, and Tony, I'm gonna let you have most of this here.
And I feel weird because I'm like you. When I'm on StreamYard, I don't see myself, so I'm doing this completely without seeing my face. But anyways, scroll down to a little to the bottom here. I don't have the same letters that you usually have. X is for playoff clinched, Y is for division clinched, and Z is for top 6 seed. The reason I have that is because as we start in the NL East on the top left, those two teams are the guaranteed top 6 seed. We only have we've played 42 games. We got a 56 game schedule. So 14 games back is the magic you're looking at. So the Braves, the Phillies have clinched a top 6 seed with getting those, first or second spots locked up. The Braves, I think I screwed that. That's got to be 10.5 because 14 on the nuts would be a tie. So their magic number is 10.5. The same thing with moving down to the Central. The Cardinals' magic number for the division is 9.5, but they have also clinched a top 6 seed.
I love this X and Z, man. It's like an old how the newspapers used to do it.
Yep. The same thing with the Dodgers. The Dodgers have not clinched a top 6 seed. I mean, yeah, they've got a 5-game lead on the Giants and a 7.5-game lead on the D-backs. But if for whatever reason something happens down the stretch, Joe could be looking at a 7 or 8 seed instead of the top 6 seed. But he has clinched at least.
Right, he's definitely in.
Yeah. Moving over to the AL, we only have one team who has clinched, and that's the Athletics. Their magic number for the division is 8.5. Yeah, we have to add a half game. I screwed up on the math on these. Same thing with the Twins.
It has 2 teams. Yes. 2 teams really fighting it out for the number 2 spot in that division, though. The Rangers-Mariners fight is one to pay attention to.
Yep. And the same thing, the Centrals are almost mirror images of each other. I mean, there's a little more separation in the NL than the AL, but you have so many teams who are still in it, at least half the division with 3 of the teams there. And then it's just a 2-team race, I'd say, pretty much in the AL East. Now, the other one is
too, though. Yankees 4 games behind the Orioles. I mean, that's a fun one for the top of the division. Most of the tops seem pretty firm right now, and there's some fun fight for second place. But
I mean, because you at least
have East.
It would take 2 weeks for any team to lose the top seed in their division, since we only have 3 games per week.
2 really bad weeks.
Yes, exactly. And the other team has to go 3-0 on top of you going 0-3. Also, now I made a second one. This is the NL playoff teams, the NL wild card, and then the same thing with the teams fighting for the wild card. Now, I'll put this to share each week, and I'll share it after the pods. That way we can unveil it on the pod. But the top portion is the playoff magic number for them, their wins plus the 9 seed losses. So right now the Giants need either a tie or a tie from the Brewers, and then they'd clinch a playoff spot.
So looking at this, is anything particularly surprising to you at this point?
You mentioned you're 2 games away from being eliminated. That was the second part I was going to. Is
I can't believe I'm not already.
You're not mathematically eliminated. You are two losses from you or 2 Cubs wins. So the way the bottom part works, obviously, is the Brewers are 2 back of the Cubs, but their magic number is just the opposite of the Cubs, 12.5. You know what I mean? And then the same thing's the 9 point, and then so on and so forth. Just reverse order for these is how the bottom part works. So we only have 4 teams who are eliminated: the Marlins, Nationals, White Sox, and Angels. Everybody else.
Maybe Tyler. Maybe in 5 minutes, Tyler can come on and explain to me how I'm worse in the power rankings than the Angels if the Angels are eliminated and I'm not. So he's going to have some explaining.
Is some of it to do with the strength of schedule?
I'm sure, yeah. But, man, I think the NL West is as tough or maybe even tougher than the AL West. More points scored by the top 3 teams in the NL West than in the AL West. And more points scored by I've scored more points than the Angels. I don't really care about the power rankings that much. I just
just to give But I mean,
strength of schedule does factor into power rankings.
I mean, we've got 3 matchups. I think we all have 3 matchups this week. So we were talking that by next week.
I think I'm at 2. I think I'm on 2 actually. 2. I think I'm playing the D-backs and somebody else.
Even if we just say 2, I could say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams could have their fate decided by next week. Like the Twins.
For next week too.
Yeah. So, I mean, the magic number, I'll keep updating it. And it's going to get, I mean, in a week or two, this thing's going to be pretty clear. I mean, mathematically, it's not clear because, you know, things can happen. But for the most part, it is pretty clear right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's starting to crystallize a bit. And I'm playing Cleveland Mark, who's whooping me, but I'm up by 50 points on the Diamondbacks. I don't know how the hell that happened, but I'm sure he'll come back and stick it to me.
That's just crazy. That's something that's also crazy to look at. Is the D-backs are 7.5 out from the top seed. Okay, they're third in the division. But they have how many games clear? 14.5 games clear of, you know, being eliminated from the wild card spot. So I'm going to stop sharing this and we'll go over the transactions.
Well, you know what? Let's bring Tyler in a minute here. And maybe we'll hold off on transactions for next week or something because I really don't want to run long tonight, honestly.
Gotcha. Nope, that's fine.
So I don't. And you know what? I'm also going to. I don't even know if these exist, but I'm going to look for like I guess you would call it like a soundboard. You know, so where I can put like not really effects. I don't want to turn this into a radio show, but I want like some cool transitional music, like some old school like Man on the Street, like newsman type music to, you know, breaking news. It's not breaking, but you know, let's go to our man in the power ranking streets, Minnesota Twins Tyler, who we're having technical anomalies.
I was going to say, well, he's doing that. The one trade I just wanted to touch on real quick, because it's an easy one, is it's a 2-player trade, and I was shocked that it was an interdivision trade between the Phillies and the Nationals, where the Phillies gave up top prospect Zach Veen for Andrew Vaughn.
I was disappointed in this trade, if for no other reason than because I had inquired about Andrew Vaughn earlier in the year, and I was rebuffed. I was rebuffed with extreme prejudice. I was told this is a guy that we are hanging on to. But at some point, he became available. And now I probably wasn't going to beat Zach Veen, but I am a huge Andrew Vaughn fan. I think he's going to be very, very, very good. So I loved this deal for Adam. I really did, because he's pretty controllably priced. I mean, he's keepable.
25. Yeah, $25. Yeah, it's 25. He's okay, $25, and he's on a first. Yeah. So I mean, you can extend him. Now, one of the rankings that I put a lot of stock in has Zach Veen as a top 15 prospect.
Sure,
like currently for fantasy.
That was definitely kind of a surprising one. You know, adding a ton of flashy deals, and I thought he was pretty high on Zach Veen. I think he still is. That doesn't mean he isn't. But okay, we got Tyler.
Okay.
Let's talk some power rankings. Tyler, how you doing?
Hey, doing well. How are you guys?
Good.
Hey, what you have the AC cranked up or something? It's the middle of it's August and you're wearing a hoodie. You're wearing a hockey hoodie.
Oh yeah. The house I live in, it kind of, the AC is underpowered for how big it is, and so it gets really cold in the basement and really hot upstairs. So I'm in the chilly basement right now, but it's comfy with switch on, so I don't mind.
I miss basements. We don't like. I don't know why nobody has a basement out here in the desert. Like, I guess they're not necessary. You know, we don't have tornadoes or anything like that. But I miss basements. Those nice, dank, cool basements in the summertime. Oh, you're taking me back.
Yes, sir.
So let's rip into some power rankings if I can get them shared. I don't know if you heard me bitching that Tony was just showing us the playoff picture and the fact that the Angels are actually mathematically eliminated while the Rockies are not. But the Rockies now fall one spot below the Angels in the power. So I'm gonna need some kind of explanation.
Actually,
how I slip from 26 to 27.
Alan, if you also look who's 25.
I'm trying. What did I not? Damn it! I did. I closed out of the stupid power ranking.
Well, just everyone knows, so it's not like an unveil. But 25 is the White Sox, and they are also mathematically eliminated. So you're below two mathematically eliminated teams.
Let me share these. Come on, get this going. How about this? No, damn it. That's. You would think, I've done a lot of these. I know. We
You
hit
want me
like
to
a
do
certain. No, I can do this. Okay. Don't you worry.
I'll just get another Bush.
There you go.
Yeah. Crack a beer.
I'll look at it. I think a big reason for that right now. I'm just going over it real quick. You had the third lowest points scored against you last week. So
I did barely win a game, so it had to be pretty bad.
Yeah, you only had it was like 305 was your average, which is the second or the third lowest. So that definitely played in.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I just wanted to complain. So yeah, we got them up on the screen. Whatever you feel like saying, Tyler.
I was gonna say I actually have to correct myself because I was looking at the wrong line. You still didn't have a 400 plus average, but you were actually at 391. So you were actually closer to the middle, not in the middle, but closer at least. So, no, I don't have a ton necessarily to, no shock and awe type stuff this week. Obviously a lot of very smaller movement, but I just always think it's super interesting when the calculations kind of come through and how the tiers still kind of are showing. I've made it very clear to multiple people I know in our Discord that like I don't feel super great about my team right now because of all the injuries that I've had. I've lost like more games in the past 3 weeks than I had the whole year previous.
Right.
So it hasn't been a great stretch for me, and yet I moved up a spot just simply because of who I had to play in the past couple of weeks. And then I'm also still obviously scoring points. I think I've been a top 10 scoring team, but it's just interesting to see the move. That is the kind of movement. I think Gary of the Yankees said the same thing. He's like, I didn't even have like that great a week and I'm not playing super well. And yet I moved up in front of the Giants who have been like on fire recently.
Right.
Well,
Gary
kind of
0-3, but he
like
played. Yeah. Tony and I mentioned he played the Dodgers, the
Orioles.
He played 3 tough teams. Yeah, Orioles and
the Rangers.
Some other
the Rangers.
Team. Yeah,
the Rangers
put up 597 on them. Yeah. So yeah, that is interesting how that works. Crazy. I think maybe looking forward to next week, could you see the Orioles and Yankees maybe flip-flopping if we have another week like week 15?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest factor keeping like Baltimore out of the top 10, even like San Francisco and Josh like moving up higher in the top 10 is the fact that they had slightly slower starts. I'm just looking at the Roto score right now, which is basically just like your rank in the league based on how many points you've scored, right? And so like the Orioles, they're still in the 6th. They still have it's a ×6 modifier and it goes up. It's 1 to 10 basically. So 10's the highest, 1's the lowest. They're still at 6. And I think all of us would look at them right now and think they're a top 3 team, top 4, at least top 5, I think for sure. And so in reality though, that Roto score modifier has them around where they're ranked, like 11th or 12th.
Wow.
And I think Josh is actually in the 8th. So he's actually a little bit higher. But yeah, so it's really interesting to kind of look at that. But I think if Baltimore keeps going at the pace they're going, they'll be close to top 5 by playoff time.
Somebody, I don't remember who it was. Might have been Adam. Somebody on the Discord said Baltimore was the best team going right now. Or it might have been Sam. I think maybe it was Sam. Yeah, but Steve's getting that hype. The O's are kicking hard to the finish, and it's getting noticed.
Yeah.
I just want to say I agree with my ranking. I'm ranked right where I should be, so I'm very happy.
I think it's really interesting looking at like the bottom third-ish or maybe even bottom half if you wanted to stretch it that far. But it's interesting to see like because obviously draft picks, right, really matter. Like I know, Tony, you have a ton. I think Washington still has a ton. I know Chicago, I think, has a good amount now. So like, there's some teams obviously down there that have a lot of picks. And so for me, that's almost the most interesting piece to kind of look at is where our team's going to fall. 2 international classes. Like, it's going to be a really big first-year player draft.
Yeah, that lottery is going to be fun. Yeah,
it's funny you mentioned that, with also piggybacking on Steve looking really good. He has my first-round pick.
Yeah.
And that was brought up many. Yeah, that was brought up many times in trade talks. And he said, "Nope, you're never getting that one from me." Because he knew it was going to be a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Going to be a lot of balls there.
Yeah.
It's very.
But I play Harry this week, so I still expect, even if I beat him, to stay at 30.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think
for you guys to move out of it.
Yeah, because
Tyler, go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
Nope, I had nothing.
Oh, I was just going to see if, for a couple more minutes, if there were any interesting transactions maybe Tyler wanted to hit on before we wipe out.
You're talking about ABL, I'm assuming, not real MLB.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you feel like, man. If you want to talk about the Twins grabbing Jorge Lopez, It was awesome to see the Molly trade come through, just because I literally probably a month ago had talked to my brother about it and about how that was kind of the way I thought we were eventually going to go. I hated that we gave up Encarnacion Strand, because I just love, he's just such a beast in the minors right now. But I thought that was a really good deal. ABL wise, I mean, Baltimore, obviously, he's been doing a great job shaping his team. I just sent him Odorizzi basically for, kind of a pick and a prospect type thing. So just to help bolster a staff. I think the interesting part, I don't necessarily have a specific transaction, but something I've found very interesting is early on, a lot of people were, trying to trade some of the bigger names, like even Frank right now, trying to trade, Walker. It sounds like he may be trading. I just saw that in the Discord, so that'll be interesting to see. But now there's been a lot of what I kind of like to call like filler trades, right? Where you're filling your bench, you're getting a relief pitcher, you're getting a low end starter for your 7th start in the week. So I thought I don't have one specific transaction, but I felt like there's been a lot of those in terms of filling teams, which I think is really, in my personal opinion, is very smart for a lot of these top end teams to make sure you can always be getting points.
Now, what about something that I've done 2 of these trades now, and I think it's something that'll be advantageous to the dumping teams, where Josh traded me literally. He got nothing, and I just took on all the salary that he needed dumped from 2020.
That was confusing as hell. Yeah.
And he, the thing is now it's still I've said it, I think, a couple times on podcast. He's really improved his trade negotiations. He even said, he never wanted to lose trades. It was always a win thing. He even said, now I'm doing this, losing this trade, knowing I'm going to keep a friendship and negotiations open for if I ever need help, maybe you can help me since I'm helping. That's what trade should be all about. You don't always have to win, quote unquote, every trade.
Josh is setting you up for the long con, is what that's called.
Oh, I know. I know that.
Josh is too smart of a guy.
Yeah, he's too smart to say, "Oh, I'm going to lose this, and it's because I want to be your friend." That's not straight. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I don't mean that disparagingly, like towards Josh or whatever.
You talked about that Odorizzi trade. What is it you see? And I'm not saying I don't see anything, but what do you like about Anton Kelly? And was he just a throw-in, or?
I mean, to be honest with you, it was interesting. When I put kind of that huge list up and said I was mainly looking, for prospects and picks and stuff, I wasn't exactly sure what owners might reach out with and want. The most surprising part was I had a couple of conversations about the Javiers, but it really wasn't. I wasn't going to get enough for them, so it wasn't really worth it. So a lot of the conversation was around the Odorizzis, trying to remember like Flexen, Gray, those kind of pitchers. And so for me, all that I wanted back was someone who I felt had a good spot in their organization. And it's funny that Kelly obviously just got traded too, which I think he was already kind of a top arm in the Brewers system. And now he goes to Texas, where I think he'll have a shot much more quickly than he would have in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And he's had pretty decent stuff. Stats have kind of been there. I'm certainly not Duke or anyone like that who looks at all the extra stats all the time, but he's pitched pretty well, I think, and he's set up pretty well there. I think honestly, the most interesting part about that was I was able to also get Arcia out of the deal, and not again that Arcia is like this awesome player, but 3 position eligible. I can use him, when he's in the lineup, and so to be able to get that, and he was just going to drop him, so it was kind of a throw in into the trade. So yeah, it ended up.
And you also Arcia's on a first, and Odorizzi's on a 2022.
Yeah.
These are things that they do matter.
Yeah,
because it is a rental. It's a pure rental. He just gets them till the end of the year, and that's it.
Yep.
And then he's back in the pool.
And I think for him, he's his team is in a spot where he's gonna be able to build on what he has. Right. I don't think this year is going to be the only year he's going to be good.
No.
So I think him losing Odorizzi isn't that big of a deal. Obviously, Jake moving to Atlanta is not necessarily an upgrade or a downgrade. They're both pretty good teams. Maybe Atlanta's a little worse, a little more underperforming, but he's still going to get great opportunities for wins and all that kind of stuff. So overall, I think it really helps him in his push. And for me, I had 11 starts this week. So a lot of starts, I'm just sitting on my bench. So I'm like, I want to try to get
first world problems.
I want to try to get
first world problems.
Sorry,
I have almost twice as many starts as I need. What do I do with all these starts? I guess I'll just give them away. Yeah. Oh boy. You guys are sitting on a pile of gold while the rest of us shiver and starve out in our villages. All right, that's probably pretty good. Tony, you got another one, Tony?
Oh, I was just going to ask him about his other trade that he made since we had him on, the Max Muncy trade.
Yeah, I mean that was clearly. I think I had reached out to John specifically. I think just because I'd obviously Muncy was not in a good spot, right? I mean he was not performing very well. He was not worth the price that he was at. So it had to be something where not only was he going to get some decent pieces out of it, but I was obviously going to get something decent back. The biggest piece I wanted for him was Encarnacion, which obviously as a Twins fan, I had loved watching him and seeing him. Now that he's in Cincinnati, I mean, I think he'll still obviously be able to have a good shot at playing time soon. Giving up Larnach, I don't know if he'll be worth what I paid for him either. It was kind of a dump in a sense too, but basically getting Encarnacion and then Rayleigh too, who's closed some games for Tampa was just, hey, let's fill a decent minor spot. Let's get a relief pitcher, have a guy who's going to play and then move some cap space.
I did not know much about Encarnacion.
He's been just destroying the ball.
Yes, he has.
High hard hit. I mean, his hard hit rate is crazy. Like he's just been, and he's kind of played all over the place in the infield. But as it says there, they're even talking about him maybe playing in the outfield.
So I didn't know this because I don't own the guy anywhere. But I just pulled up a site I use that puts monthly rankings out. Encarnacion Strand jumped 140 spots in 1 month.
Yeah.
Is that Prospects Live?
No, it's Baseball Prospectus.
Yeah, that's yours. Yeah.
And he jumped up to 131.
Yeah.
Last month alone, he was 271. Now he's 131.
That's a massive jump. for any
in 1 month.
That's a huge jump.
Yeah.
So it again, I think it ended up working out well. I needed to kind of rebolster my farm system a little bit. I think I got 2 guys that, give me a good shot to have some guys get called up eventually in the next, year or two. And not to mention I think when I looked last, I'm I'm going to go into the auction with a ton of, unless I make another move of some kind, I'm going to go into the auction with a ton of money next year because I'm pretty much losing almost my whole pitching staff. And then a bunch of higher end guys, most likely too. So assuming I don't, take bets on for another year or something like that. So it ended up working out well, I think.
So are you saying I'm going to be going head to head with you on a lot of these players in the auction?
It depends on if your strategy is to try and buy a bunch of expensive pitchers again. So
no, I will have $260 going into the auction.
If you're going after the expensive pitchers, we will not be betting against each other.
That probably will not be my strategy next year.
You know what you're gonna do? You're gonna do just like you did in year one. You're gonna draft a team that ends up being good for the first half, but you're gonna trade them all away because you can't help yourself, and you're just gonna let the cycle repeat. So we can already just stick a fork in it.
Hey, you can't hold on. You can actually say, because both of you guys are in the reset league, the ABL 4. Mm-hmm. I went for it in that. I'm going for it in that league.
I'm chasing you.
Yeah, after Duke, I don't want to say he publicly shamed you, but. I mean, for lack of a better term, he publicly shamed you into going for it, going all in instead of dumping. I mean, I'm impressed with the change in tack. I'm also impressed. I oftentimes forget that you are the Cubs in that league. I always want to associate you with the Marlins, but I forget that you are the Cubs, and I know how well the Cubs are doing. So, yeah, it's true. You don't always make 1,000 trades, and you don't always blow everything up just for the sake of blowing things up and making trades. That is true. I will give you credit for that.
As fun as that is. As fun as that is to do.
Yes.
Right.
Well,
the other side enjoyable.
The other side's just as fun. I mean, acquiring Freddie Freeman and all the players
I wouldn't know. I'm going to try the winning side in one of these dynasties myself one day, but I don't yet know. I have never had a team over 500 at any point. So
our football team.
You've experienced winning. You had a 500 club, over 500 club for at least a chunk of last year. I haven't experienced it yet. I squeaked into the playoffs, but I was the bastard child of the playoffs. I didn't deserve to be there. Everybody knew it. I knew it. There was no hiding it. I was the ugliest girl at the prom. They let me in, but they had to. I was friends with everybody else. I wasn't really supposed to be there. So. I think that's a good enough point to end it. This is kind of going to be what we're going to try to do going forward. I'm going to try to have Tyler on for power rankings every week. We might move it to Thursdays instead of Wednesdays to make that a little easier. I'm going to have Tony on every week. So, guys, thank you both for taking the time. It was fun.
Always.
And
Always.
We'll see you next week.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend.